Hello everybody at Whitehall, and especially Year 6s. I thought I would give you some hints and tips on angles, as we've had a bit of a request, because it's something that you've been doing and is going to come up on your white rose work if you're following that. So the first thing you need to remember is that an angle is the measurement of a turn. We measure it in degrees. We need to know that an angle around a point or a full turn is 360 degrees. In class, we've also learnt the key vocabulary and the names for all of the different types of angles. We have an acute angle, which is less than 90 degrees. We have a right angle, which is always shown with the two straight lines rather than a curve, which is 90 degrees. An obtuse angle, which is greater than 90 degrees but less than 180 degrees. And then lastly, the reflex angle, which is greater than 180 degrees but less than 360 degrees, that full turn. We've looked in class at how that angles inside a triangle, any triangle, they always total 180 degrees, whatever type of triangle it is. We also know that angles on a straight line total 180 degrees also. It's a fact that you need to remember. We also learnt in class that vertically opposite angles are always equal to each other. You can see here we've got the 100 and the 100 that are equal to each other, and they're opposite, and then the 80 and the 80, which are opposite, are equal to each other. What I wanted to do today was really focus on quadrilaterals. Now remember, quadrilaterals are four-sided shapes with straight sides. The one we all know best is the square. If you look at the square, each angle inside the square is 90 degrees, a right angle, shown with the correct symbol here. So to find the total of those angles, all I need to do is take my 90 for each right angle and multiply it by 4, and I've got 360 degrees. But then I've got here an irregular quadrilateral. All the angles are different, so how am I going to know what the angles inside this quadrilateral total? What I've done, I've taken that exact same shape, and this was it originally, I've ripped off all the corners and I've put them together here, and you can see that the four angles from this shape that I had earlier, exactly the same shape, they go together to make a full turn. And if it's a full turn, that must equal 360 degrees. So the four angles together make a full turn, or 360 degrees, and that's the same for any quadrilateral that you come across. Okay, so remembering that fact, we can do some problem solving. I'm going to look at this one first, actually. When you're problem solving with quadrilaterals, you've always got to look for what you already know. There's always clues and hints in the diagrams or in the wording that goes next to the diagram. So here we've been asked to find the value of A. Looking at my diagram, straight away I can see this is the angle I'm looking for. But look what I've already been told. Here, I know that this is the symbol to show me it's a right angle, so I know that this angle here is worth 90 degrees. If I look here, I can see that angle opposite is going to be exactly the same. I've got another 90 degrees, and I've already been told that this one is 53 degrees. So I start by adding together what I already know. My two 90s for my two right angles add 53. I can do that one mentally, 233 degrees. Then I have to remember that fact from earlier. All quadrilaterals, the internal angles total 360 degrees. So I subtract my 233 from that to get 127 degrees. So I now know angle A is 127 degrees. Here's another one. This time the information says that two isosceles triangles have been joined together to make a kite, which is another quadrilateral. Hopefully you'd recognise that. I can see here I've got my two isosceles triangles. First of all, remember that angles always add up to 180 degrees. What I have to remember from my shape work earlier in the year is that an isosceles triangle has two angles that are equal to each other. The opposite angles are always equal to each other. So I've already been given 110 degrees here. So I take my 180, because I know that all angles in a triangle total 180. Take away my 110, what I was already given, and I'm left with 70. I now know that A and B will total 70. So I know they're equivalent to each other, so all I need to do is split that in half, so divide it by 2. 70 divided by 2 is 35. So angle A and angle B are 35 degrees each. Then I look at the bottom half of my kite. It's another isosceles triangle, I've already been told that. I know that this angle at the bottom here is 66 degrees. So I could do the same process again. Start with 180 because all angles in a triangle total 180. Subtract the 66. I can do that one mentally. It's 114. So I know that C and D together are equal to 114 and they're equivalent to each other. So again, I divide it by 2 to get my 57. So C and D are equal to 57 degrees. Just to make sure to absolutely check, I can use what I know about quadrilaterals. Remember, all the angles inside that shape, because it's a quadrilateral, should total 360 degrees. So I've taken my 110 and my 66, the 70 and the 114, totaled them all together. They do make 360. So I know I've been able to check that my calculations are correct. I hope that's helped Year 6. Hope to see you soon.